It was the worst season of Husker football in 56 years. Blowout.
Pass caught, touchdown.
After blowout. After blowout.
Touchdown, Iowa.
Watching this program and what's happened, and it just turns to anger.
As Nebraska fans said goodbye to Mike Riley and said hello to a familiar face. As former NU quarterback Scott Frost came home to his native Nebraska to try to resurrect the program he had helped lead to its last national title.
When it came down to it, this is home, and I can't think anything more rewarding in my career than turning this place around.
Now Frost and his entire staff from UCF come to Lincoln in hopes of turning around a brand that was once the pinnacle of college football.
We're gonna go fast around here. Practices are gonna be fast and meetings are gonna be fast. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's time for the OSI Spring Game Preview Special.
Hi there and welcome to the OSI Spring Game Preview Special. I'm Adam Kruger.
And I'm Ben Stevens, and pleased to be joined by the host of The Bottom Line on AM 590 ESPN Omaha, Michael Severe. Michael, as always, thanks for being here.
Ready to go fast. Let's do it.
Over the next 30 minutes, we'll get you set for Saturday's annual Red-White scrimmage, the first under new head coach Scott Frost in Lincoln. Nearly 20 years after leading Nebraska to its last national title in 1997, Scott Frost was named the 33rd head coach in Husker football history back on December 2nd. And in those 4 months at the helm, Frost went back to Central Florida to lead the Knights to an unbeaten season and a win in the Peach Bowl over Auburn. He brought in a recruiting class that ranked top 25 nationally, and now is about to cap off his first go-around of spring practice as Husker head coach with the spring game on Saturday.
One of our sayings is have a desire to excel and no fear of failure. And part of that is on the coach's responsibility. I mentioned that we're not going to yell and scream at kids. We're not going to cuss at kids. I don't think that's the right thing to do, and I also don't want to make kids afraid to go make a great play.
All right, Michael, what do you think will be Frost's greatest strength at Nebraska, and in turn, what will be the toughest part for him returning to NU?
I think a big part of him is that he expects to win. He coaches to win, which everybody does for the most part, but I also believe that he has this desire as an in-state guy to be successful. He knows if he fails, where's he going to go? Go live in Arizona? He can't come back here if he failed. But I think that offense is going to be special in the Big Ten, and I think his recruiting acumen is going to be great too because, he's a good-looking guy who can get people and moms to win them over and get them to come here. So I think everything he does is pretty good.
If you say so. And somewhat remarkably, in this day and age of college football, Scott Frost brought his entire coaching staff from UCF with him to Lincoln. And that staff now at Nebraska includes offensive coordinator Troy Walters. Walters and Frost led Central Florida's high-powered offense last season that ranked first in the country in points per game, averaging just over 48 scored a contest. Now Walters and company are tasked with installing this up-tempo offense in Lincoln.
Coaches that really think outside the box. And so every game, it's a new game plan, and we're coming up with creative ways to be successful. And it's just not only the best offensive system I've been a part of, but best offensive staff I've been a part of.
Michael, what do you think is the best part about this offense that Frost and Walters bring to Nebraska?
First of all, their run game. They're going to run the ball, especially when they have leads. They almost run the ball. I think 65% of the time when they have a lead. I also love the fact that they get the ball to their athletes in space. I know we talk about it a lot, but not every team does it. They do a great job of it. And one of the best things about it is they can keep guys off balance when you're in the red zone. They run the quarterback in the red zone. They run, jet motion. They run screen. They run everything in the red zone to trick the defense, or at least keep them, at least a bit on their heels when they get in the red zone. And
on the other side of the ball, coming to Lincoln from Orlando as well, defensive coordinator Eric Chinander, the new leader of the Black Shirts, has coached alongside Frost each of the past 4 seasons and 9 years total. Last year at this time, we all heard a lot about new defensive style for the Huskers, the 3-4 defense under Bob Diaco. Chinander also runs a 3-4 defense, but his scheme will certainly look different for the Black Shirts this season.
I don't think we're the defense I heard about, if that makes sense. I think we're ahead of that curve a little bit. I think they're buying into the system. I think they're doing what we want them to do. We know there's mistakes. With this offense, you make a mistake, they're going to rip you for 60. So it's great learning. I think we're a little bit ahead of where I guess I thought we'd be.
So, Michael, this defense also a 3-4, but where does Chenander's defense differ from Bob Diaco's 3-4?
They strike. They're aggressive. I think this defensive line is going to be the most improved segment of the team because you've got athletes, you've got versatile guys who can play different positions, and they're going to allow them to go after them. They line up, too, in so many different places. They're tight at times. Sometimes they line their defensive ends outside the tight ends. They can't the nose tackle. Sometimes they move the nose tackle all the way over to the 3 technique. I love what they do with the defensive line. It's going to be much more aggressive than it was last year.
And just like their head coach, 3 new Nebraska assistants are returning to coach at their alma mater. The all-time leading tackler in Husker history, Barrett Ruud, was named the 10th assistant coach on Frost's staff. He'll coach the inside linebackers. Ryan Held is the running backs coach. He played with Frost on 2 NU teams in 1995 and 96. He also coached with Frost the past 2 seasons at UCF. And Greg Austin, a former offensive guard with the Huskers, now coaches the O-line for Nebraska.
The fact that I'm at home, you know, first and foremost, you're around friends and family, which is always nice when you leave the office. There's always a little bit of an extra sense of pride when you're at your school, at your alma mater where you played at.
We haven't lost a beat. All we did was change addresses and put on a different polo, and now get these, you know, get them all coached up.
Like, holy crap, like I'm back in Nebraska right now. It's crazy. But sometimes I pinch myself, but you know, we have a lot of work to do here.
Michael, in your opinion, how much can their experience at Nebraska help Frost change the culture in Lincoln?
I think part of it, they know how to get around. You know, when you get a new job, seriously, when you get a new job, you got to try to find out. Well, they know everything. 2 of these guys are my favorite players I ever covered since I've been covering Nebraska. Greg Austin, tough guy, hurt his knee the first year here, played through it, became honorable mention all Big 12, one of the toughest guys I know. And Barrett Ruud is one of the smartest guys I know. When the draft came around, I wanted the Saints to take him so bad because of the way he plays. But both of those guys, I don't know Ryan Held very well, but those other 2 guys, they're going to coach their players up and they're going to make them better.
Still to come on our OSI Spring Game Preview Special, we catch up with the Omaha World-Herald's Sam McEwen going position group by position group to break down the Huskers' depth chart. Stay with us.